What's up, everybody, and welcome to another Seven Figure Photographer Live. I'm excited to be here today. I hope you're excited. Mia is not very excited looking.
I'm frustrated. Hold on, give me a minute.
Mia is struggling with technology. Now, what I think is funny, like, could you imagine has it been 3 years? It's been 3 years that you've worked for me.
Oh,
Hasn't it?
Since.
Yeah, so could you imagine you 3 years ago trying to use this technology?
Oh, shut up. I could use it.
You struggled so bad.
No,
so
I struggled with Apple.
I know, but when you started working for me, I was like, I'm going to need you to use Apple. And you're like, no.
No.
So I bought her first iPhone, and like the next weekend she came back and she was like, I can see why you can't live without it.
Yep. Now I've got the watch and the laptop.
Now she's got the watch, the laptop, the computer at home. She's got everything. And I got her set up on Ring cameras, which was the demise of her daughter and I's relationship.
Yes, it was.
But anyway, I'm glad you guys are here with us today. Today we are going to talk about something that I think is actually really well needed. We're going to talk about motivation through small wins. Now, the reason we have this topic is because Mia sent it to me. Because clearly I need to get motivated.
Yes.
I think that's the point of this whole thing. There's Mia just dying laughing right now.
You need some help.
I've been struggling this year with motivation and just like a lot of things. And a lot of it is just kind of imposter syndrome, all that stuff. But we're going to talk about it today. The reason I grasped a hold of this topic is because I actually have been working on it, despite the fact you might not believe it. You punk. I've been working on the small wins, and so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do that, let's go ahead and do a quick introduction. What's up, guys? For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sam Marvin, and I have been in the photography industry for 25 plus years. While I love being a creative, business is my passion, and elevating the industry of photography is my focus. I created the Seven Figure Photographer to share my journey to seven figures and help others find their way too.
That's amazing.
We're going to talk about motivation through small wins. Now, I actually have talked about this a little bit in the past. In fact, if you go back, what was you had a bewilderment face.
I don't have any audio from you.
You don't have any audio from? Oh. There, now we have audio. I forgot to hit the unmute. It's one of those days already. So anyway, excited to be here. Excited to talk about. Thank you, Josh. I realized what the problem was, but I'm excited to talk about this today. Of course, like I was saying, Mia kind of sent me this topic. She is reading the book Essentialism, and that's kind of where the topic came up. I'm guessing she was on chapter 17.
Oh, I'm on the second time reading it.
Oh, you're on the second
I
time
love
reading it. Okay.
It's now one of my favorites.
It is a great one. I think Josh Peterson is actually the one that suggested this one. No, it wasn't. It was Brian Walsh.
Yes, from PPI.
Yeah, PPI. I think it was one of the books that Josh talked about anyway, because I'm pretty sure, because this is some of the stuff that he and I talk about as well. So obviously the reason she gave me this is because she thinks I suck at motivating or being motivated lately. And part of that comes from like just feeling like no matter what I do lately, I feel invisible and I feel like the things I try to do just don't work. And I know that Mia's whole thing is she's like, well, you're not trying them enough. You're not doing this. Like,
wow.
you beat up on me a little bit about it. So, but it's been challenging, and it's created a lot of struggle for me as far as my motivation and my desire to do a lot of things. And so naturally I withdraw and I spend more time fishing, or I mean, we all have I've seen this happen with every one of you, most of you anyway, that I know well. I've seen it happen in so many situations. And so that's what, I think that it's really vital to think about. Now, like I said, I have talked about this in the past. In fact, we did a TikTok when we first we had like years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, I don't know. Anyway, a couple years ago, we decided to do a 7FP, seven figure photographer, planning meeting in Park City, Utah.
I think we should do it again.
You think we should do it again? Okay, well, what's up, James? So anyway, we did this planning meeting, and while we were there, I saw a video that really hit home for me, and it was something that we had been working on at home, my wife and I, and that was making our bed. Now, I got a lot of flack for this because I got a lot of people that are like, I think it's stupid, like, why would you do it? Anyway, I made a TikTok. If you get a chance, click the link. Mia just put it in there. Go watch the TikTok. It's really all about the whole concept of giving yourself an opportunity to have little wins throughout the day. Now, we've talked about imposter syndrome. We've talked about, what's the word, like when you try to tell yourself good things every day? Affirmations. We've talked about affirmations. We've talked about how the fact that we're our worst enemy. Like every morning we wake up and we tell ourselves that we're not worth it. We tell ourselves that we don't want to get up. We tell ourselves we don't want to deal with this today. We tell ourselves all these things. So naturally, just like a child, if you could imagine telling your child they suck all day, every day, guess what? Your child is going to believe it. The reason I know this is true is because I look at my son and some of the things that I was imposing on him and expecting of him. He had, for some reason, just could not, like, given the opportunity to say that the sky was above him, he would say the sky was under his feet. Like, he would choose to tell a lie about the dumbest shit on the most inconvenient moments. And I was like, and like, we were talking about this the other day. I would get more pissed off at him that he wouldn't just come clean with me. Even though it was obvious, like, he knew that I knew he was full of shit. I don't think I'm supposed to say that word so many times. Anyway, so, like, he would hold to his lie just to spite, and I would get more angry because of that lie. Now, this is, I mean, he is a kid. He's a 14-year-old kid. Every 14-year-old kid does this. It happens, like, all too often. But what I noticed happening is I was so determined to prove to him that he could not get away with anything and that I was a bloodhound and could catch him in every single lie, which in every aspect just led to me telling him constantly that he was a liar. And I remember one day I was sitting down with him and he, like, in all sincerity, said to me, he's like, I know, Dad, I'm a terrible person. I'm a liar. And I was like, wait a second. That's not like, I want you to understand that you lie. I don't want you to believe that you are a liar. Because if you believe that you are a liar, then you just accept it. The same thing goes for us in our businesses, us getting up in the morning. If we tell ourselves every single day that we suck or that we can't do these things or that we're never going to matter, we're never going to amount to anything, this comes into the whole imposter syndrome. Then we're not going to make it. So when we can get up every day and do something simple and recognize it as a win or something that excites you, then having those little wins matter. And we're going to talk more about that. But one of those things that you can do is, like, we suck at making the bed. Like, you're going to mess it up. No joke. We would make our bed on a regular basis. We kind of got out of the habit, Michelle and I did, recently. And lately, or when we were doing it, we would make the bed, go into the bathroom, and no joke, Gracie, our dog, our silver lab, would take the covers and, like, pull them up and wad them up on the bed so that it was more comfortable for her to lay on. And so even after making the bed, she would make a mess of it. But the feeling it gives you, like, do you make your bed every day?
Yes.
Don't lie to me.
I only have one sheet and one blanket. It's really easy.
Okay. So, I mean, I'm interested to know how many of you guys actually make your bed every day. It is a powerful feeling. Now, beyond that, like, setting small goals, or not small goals, but small things that you can accomplish gives you that strength of being able to accomplish big things, or the whole compound effect, which is the book that Josh did suggest to me. Now, all this actually comes from there. Like, I have a lot of personal experience with it, but a lot of it comes from the book Essentialism, which is the book that Mia is reading right now. And she just told me I needed to make it the business book of the month because I've been sucking at doing that lately. So anyway, that's some of the really cool things that, like, in just that one chapter that I listened to today. And I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this. Maybe I don't know if it's something you want to talk about. Nope. And I read somewhere it's healthier for your sheets to see some sun, so I'm going with that. Annie,
sheets see the sun.
She's just like last time I brought this up. Somebody decides to just fight me on it. That's right. You don't have to do it. Find other things to win at. Like, find other things that you can recognize as small wins in your day. Now, this was the thing that really just like hit me hard. We all know who Michael Phelps is. Michael Phelps won 8 gold medals at the Beijing Winter Olympics.
I believe so.
And basically, he is an essentialist, or an essentialist, is what they call it. And what it kind of talked about, like in the book, it talked all about how he had created this routine. And I was like blown away at all the things that this routine had created. But what it was that he went through like all these different things. And he very specifically, I'm just going to kind of start very specifically every day before a race. He would show up to the event 2 hours before the race. He would at like an hour before the race, his coach would stop talking to him. He would not talk to anybody. He'd put his earbuds in. I may be wrong on these times. Then at like 30 minutes before the race, he would go to the staging ready room. And then like when they called his name to step up on the block, he would step up left foot first. He'd pull his right earbud out, but he'd leave his left earbud in until the last minute. Like, he had a very, very specific routine. And because of this routine, all those little things were little wins. And so he created a habit of winning constantly. So the additional part of that, like winning the race, was just kind of a natural thing. Now, Mia, obviously, I'm going to let Mia talk about this a little bit because I'm sure it will encourage some interesting topic or conversation. So what were you hoping to
to get you motivated, to get you back?
Now, mind you, there was something that I wanted to share about this, and I can't remember what it was, but there was something really specific.
I don't know.
Anyway, maybe it'll come back up.
It hit home really for me when I was reading this. So like I say, this is the second time I've read the book.
Overachiever.
I love this.
You're not
book.
getting any extra brownie points.
So when my daughter passed, like everything kind of I like my schedules. I like to plan ahead. I like to be organized. And yeah, everything blew up, and it was all crazy. And one of the things that I've been trying to slowly do is get back into those routines, because I feel like when my desk is clean, I feel like I am more productive, or I feel
that too. I just have never had a clean desk.
Yeah, you just have issues. But for the rest of us without issues, we can move on with life.
Clean.
But one of the things when I was trying to get back in the habit, like, we've been open and vulnerable here before, but like I literally would put brush your teeth on my list, or take a shower, because it was that bad. It was like I didn't even remember to brush my teeth. But as soon as I got my teeth brushed, and I was like, okay, that feels better. Now I want to brush my hair. And then I'd brush my hair. And I think when I look around at people when they struggle, I think it's because we get out of the habit and we start to doubt ourselves. Like, if we haven't shot in a long time, we're nervous to go out and shoot because, well, what if I forget? Or what if I forgot my trigger? Or what if I did this? Or what if my focus is off? But then once you get that first one done, you're like, oh, okay, I did okay. And then you do the next one, and then you're going to go edit the pictures. And then you're like, you get one edited and you're like, oh, that was cool. Now I want to do the second one. And it just kind of, it it builds and it makes you feel better.
So one question I like, there's 2 points I want to bring up here,
Okay.
and I'll switch to my face. Number one, how many of you actually have like? I know many of you have routines without question, but how many of you like could write it out like item by item the routines? And this is going to be really funny. The one routine that I know that like I stick to without question, and it's probably the dumbest routine ever. It's showering and like getting ready for the day. That's the one thing that I literally do every step. I get in the shower. First thing I do is shampoo my hair. Second thing I do is, and I know it's funny because like when I was a kid, like it used to intrigue me like why people would do it differently, because naturally, like if you wash your body and then you clean the dirt out of your hair, like it's all running down your body, right? So that's like I had this specific routine. I would get out of the shower, I'd dry off, I would shave first because my face is soft and wet, and so I could shave, clean out my ears with Q-tips, brush my teeth. That is literally my one thing that I could actually say that I could write out my routine. Now, this is the same thing about business. It's the same thing in creating systems or routines. It's just a different word. It's a system instead of for you, it's the system for your business. Instead of the routine for you, it's a system for your business. And so I urge you guys, like how many of those routines do you have? And now, mind you, some of us like to fight. And I think honestly, like you've been trying to get, and this is probably one of the biggest battles that Mia and I have working here together. Mia is very like, she wants to have everything determined in routine, like, and
I like the big picture. I want to know.
I am so fly by the seat of your pants. Like I don't want to make a decision before it's necessary to make the decision, which it does hurt me. It costs me more money. There's lots of things about it. Josh said something about ADHD. I haven't even gotten to it, but I know that's probably a big part of it. But one thing I've noticed is the more you have pushed for routine and scheduling and everything, the more I've fought it.
Okay, so can I get the spotlight?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so I'm going to address you and Josh at the same time.
Oh, dear.
So Josh says routines are difficult for creatives because most of us are neurodivergent, ADHD, and we require novelty in order to get that dopamine. This is why we are good with shooting, working with clients. It's always new, and terrible at the mediocre tasks like editing, printing, and orders, and etc.
Well, I'll tell you that's true.
Okay, yeah, like I get that. But I think for me, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here, is that if you can get yourself in a routine, you free up time to have that ability to be creative and spontaneous. When you don't have a system, when you don't have a routine, when things aren't in order, you start to kind of shut down because you want to do these things. Nope, you let me finish. You want to do these things, and you can't because then all these other things pile up behind it. It doesn't mean it has to be like to the minute, but having a planned sort of schedule would free up so much more time for you to have those creative moments and that spontaneous.
You're 100% correct.
Oh,
like,
you and Josh both agree.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. However, this morning our whole week kind of fell apart, right?
Yes.
Because we have snow expected on Wednesday. We have like our client came in 30 minutes early this morning, which we still small win.
Yeah, small win. We
like,
still booked them.
We still booked them. But now we're worried about next week's shoot, and so like our whole week fell apart. When that happened, I actually had a like feeling of relief.
Yeah.
The concept of like, I like having my stuff booked. I almost said shit again. Whoops, I screwed that up. I love having stuff on the schedule, but when stuff gets messed up, to me, it's like the biggest relief. Like, is that not weird?
No, I agree, but I also find I make more and I'll put myself under the bus. I personally make more mistakes.
Wait, could you say that again?
I personally make more mistakes when we are not consistent and there's not structure within my process because I'm doing it less, and so I think of it less, and I forget about the little minute things, and then I make one little mistake.
Totally makes sense. And honestly, like when it boils down to it, I need you to be more routine and more scheduled. So like that is kind of your responsibility. Because I have to have somebody make up for the fact that I am such a shit show in all the rest of it. Like, really. So that's like, I know like people are always like, well, how did you do it without Mia? Well, I did it, but it was like I had my challenges. Yeah. Now I just have somebody to blame when stuff doesn't get scheduled right or stuff gets double booked. And I can be like, I'm really sorry that my assistant is such a dumbass.
Even when it's not my fault. Thank you very much.
So like but all I'm saying is that, and we kind of got completely off track, but the idea behind it is that the routine, creating the routine, allows you to have little wins. I can tell you this much. When I have a day that I have multiple things to get done and I actually make a list of things and I get those things done, I do feel like really good. When I'm able to go into Trello and mark off things, I do feel really good. And it is that dopamine rush of knowing that I've completed a task or I've had a little win. And all too often, Josh and I have actually been talking about this, and I need to get back into it. We added each other because Mia's the only one that shows up on my fitness tracker or my Apple Fitness.
Oh, I want to be part of this.
Well, no, but we can add you in. But Mia, like every day, what's funny is like I get the notifications for Tiffany every day, and I get the notifications for you every day when you're running. And you haven't been running lately, have you?
No, I've had my
you
foot
slacker.
Sore. I know.
Don't make excuses. Anyway, but it makes me feel like crap every day. Because I'm like, shoot, I should have been doing that. But Josh was talking about, and this kind of comes from, I think it kind of derives from essentialism, but it also derives from, is it the compound effect? Is that the name of the book?
The other one that Josh was talking about?
Yeah. So, and that's something that we've talked about, is literally just, instead of looking at these big things that really do knock us down hard, like I have like the whole thought of some of the tasks that we have to complete or some of the goals. And I just remember reactive. Okay. So the goals that we have to accomplish or the things that we have to accomplish throughout the year, are big things. And we all too often put them off instead of making little things. And this kind of all falls into the One Thing book, which like choose the one thing you can do that's going to move you forward the most towards your project or what you're trying to accomplish. And so creating those little routines, if you can identify the routines that do certain things, and maybe that routine is just simply like one of my routines that I've been trying to start, which I suck at, is like every morning just pulling up Trello, because honestly, I avoid Trello a lot of times. And then I realized that I've avoided it. And then I'm like, okay, well, I didn't really get anything accomplished because I didn't even look to see what was needed. And Mia will be like, well, I put it in Trello. And I'm like, okay, what does that do for me when I don't look? So the other thing that the other point that I wanted to add in there was the concept of being reactive instead of proactive. If you can create routines that are proactively working towards your goal, you're doing something small, just like with the thing I was talking about with Josh, just going to the gym. I did that. I started going back to the gym a couple months ago, and I went to the gym. I literally just walked on the treadmill for like 5 minutes just to start. And it started me into that progress. And then I traveled, and travel is the one thing that always throws me off. Which it messes with so much of my routine, but yet I love to travel. So that's something I got to figure out. But being reactive versus being proactive, when we react to things that happen, which is what I do 95% of the time, then we're dealing with the concept afterwards. In the book, it talked about like the whole screen time thing with kids.
Yes.
And it was like such a light bulb moment. Like that is a very reactive, like I'm trying to get my kid to spend less time on screens. However, at the same time, I work a lot. So when I come home, if he's not playing video games, he's bugging the hell out of me. Like, Dad, let's go do this. Dad, let's go do that. And I'm like, I'm tired, dude. I don't want to do that right now. And so he goes and plays video games. But the whole concept of having the tokens or something like that be worth money or screen time, like it's, you're kind of, because in the real world, that's really what it's about. Like you got to make money to be able to afford screen time. You got to make money to be able to afford the time off. And so let that be a lesson to you, the concept of everything you do, think about it. Is this a proactive response or is this a reactive response? And try to create in your life more proactive than reactive. I remembered the other thing that I wanted to talk about. My wife may not have noticed this. And hopefully she has. But I know that, like, in my life, I have a tendency to just leave stuff out because I know my wife will pick it up. For instance, and this is a terrible thing, I'll be hurrying. I'll run into the house to grab something. I'll grab something and wash my hands and wipe myself, like dry my hands with a paper towel, and I'll be on my way out. And so I'm like, okay, well, the garbage can's clear across the kitchen. I'll just throw it on the counter and she picks it up, right? So a couple months, probably 6 months ago, I was like, you know what? Like, just because she takes care of stuff in the house doesn't mean that that's like all her responsibility. And so I started the habit, and it's something that's building, but it's something that continues to build, and it's something that I'm trying to bring into like business. When I'm in the kitchen or when I'm doing anything, like I leave my clothes on the floor, which that I can't even, that's been a mess right now. But little things, the biggest thing that I've noticed is in the kitchen. When there's something on the counter that needs to be thrown away, or going up the stairs, like people just walk past the stuff or people just leave stuff on the counter. And the one thing that I've been trying to say in my head is choose to be responsible, like be more responsible for it. And so I can't tell you how many times I've walked out, thrown a paper towel on the counter, and then said, no, Sam, be responsible, picked it up, gone, and put it in the trash can. Because it's like, it doesn't really like affect me, but it ultimately keeps our house cleaner, which is a more comfortable, more pleasant place for me to be. And it also makes my wife happier because she has less to do to clean up. And so it's little things like that, but that's one of those little habits that has come out of all of this that I've started trying to create. And it's still a little habit. Like I still suck at most of the stuff. But like that's one of those things that like it's just for some reason it's stuck in my head and it's been working well. So or it's been working. I don't know if I could say it's been working well. Like I said, she probably hasn't even noticed it.
She might.
But okay, so anyway, I just threw like a lot out there because I was like, I just got to get all this off my head because it was there. So thoughts.
Well, one of the other thoughts I have with just getting motivated through the small wins is that so often when we do something, we hold back and we don't let other people know that we've accomplished it. So we're not really celebrating it. We're not giving ourselves credit for what we've accomplished. And again, I'm going to keep going back to just my crappy life experience recently. But the night that Ansley passed, Ansley made lasagna. And I have not been able to eat lasagna or make it or smell it or anything without freaking out since that day. And a few weeks ago, I guess it was about a month ago, I was pissed at myself because I didn't feel like I was doing a good enough job at things. And I'm like, damn it, I'm going to eat lasagna tonight. And so I made a lasagna. Like, and it sounds so stupid to say that to the world that I made a lasagna. And I cried through the whole bloody thing. And
hopefully it wasn't bloody.
Well, no, but like, and I ate it. And I did it.
You ate the whole lasagna?
No, Tony helped and other people helped and the kids helped. But like, it was just the fact that I
You
ate
had a
it.
small win.
Yeah, it was, and it's a stupid win. It's eating a slice of, well,
Yeah,
it was
but
baking
that's
lasagna,
a whole
smelling
different.
the lasagna, eating, but
That's
it
a
is.
whole different world of like. I mean, those are
Well, it
real.
is and it
Those are
isn't.
real traumatic
Yes.
or grieving situations.
But if you can do those things, if you can celebrate those small wins, like I went to church the next day and my friends were like, well, hey, what'd you do this week? And I'm like, I ate lasagna.
Lasagna.
But I celebrated it with them. And mind you, it was only a few people, but getting that, like, just like you're doing right now, going, that was something that was hard for you and you accomplished it. I think so often we push it off. We're like, that was nothing. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
but I did it wrong. But I used the wrong this, or I used the wrong ISO. Yeah, it's a really good picture, but the highlights are a little blown out. Like, just bloody take credit for what you're doing good and start using that to build yourself and build that motivation. I think we self-sabotage so bad that way.
Yeah, I'm terrible about that. And I think that it really is important. I've actually read in lots of different areas that talk about like learning to actually celebrate your wins, even the small wins, and reward yourself for those.
Yes.
I'm going to also go back to another book. And one of my favorite things about like all the reading and all the books is because this is a perfect example of like bringing a little bit from all of it to make it one, because so many of our books that we've read in the last year really kind of all come together in this. But the 12-week year.
Yep.
Really, if you take those big things that you're so scared of, or that you're that are reducing your motivation, would that be a correct?
Yeah.
That are creating a lack of motivation, whatever you might call it, and breaking it down into smaller goals and smaller times. For instance, the whole 12-week year talks about, we set goals for the year and then we ignore them most of the year, and then we kind of try to do them at the end and we don't even complete much. Whereas if we break it up into quarters, then we know, okay, I got to get this far to make that goal. And then learning how to reward yourself for those goals. And I think that it's equally as important to write down what the reward is, or to really legitimately come up with a reward for what that accomplishment gets. And so the little wins really do matter. And I think that sometimes we straight up fail to recognize or to celebrate those small wins. And if we would do more at celebrating those small wins on a regular basis, then again, it's that dopamine hit. You're getting excited about something that you did because you reached this goal. And so what?
Nothing, Annie, keep going.
Well, I kind of reached my point, so I'm going to read what Annie said if it's appropriate. Actually, Tara says, and what do you do when you're so defeated and any and all goals are overwhelming? Now, Tara, I'm going to talk to this a little bit, because right now I've been struggling with that same thing. Now, I haven't gone through,
everybody goes through different things.
Everybody goes through different things, and I know that she's gone through a lot right now. I surprisingly have gone through a lot in the past couple years. Like, for some reason, and most of it is self-inflicted. Like, I just keep stacking it on myself. For the first time in a long time, and I'm not going to share any of the details about what I'm currently considering in my new venture. But it kind of like, we're talking about doing something new. Again, you guys will hear all about it when it happens, if it happens.
It'll happen.
But for the first time, like, I'm excited. Like, and honestly, like, we haven't really had, for a long time, my wife put me on this like business freeze. I couldn't come up with new ideas, couldn't do anything new. Now I'm looking at the possibility of something that doesn't have a whole lot of like, it's really just taking advantage of the equipment, everything that I already have, and just using that. So it's, what would you call that? Like, exercising my resources, like, to their fullest extent. And so my point in all this, Tara, was that I've experienced like really feeling what you're feeling, just feeling completely defeated and overwhelmed. At the same time, like, we're having success in business, but success and those things all look different for everybody. Like I, have, like I said, I feel like everything's fallen apart. But it hasn't all fallen apart. Whereas some people, like, it really has all fallen apart, and they feel like it's fallen apart. So, I think, in consideration of what you're saying, Tara, is pick the little things. And pick the little things that you can do that create little wins or celebrate those wins. Maybe it is as little as getting up at 9 o'clock every morning and making your bed. 2 wins right there. Like, that's huge. Or maybe it's reading a chapter of a business book or a self-help book every day. And when you can do that, maybe that is one of your wins. And so it's really just all about, it is about the compound effect. It's about finding little wins, little things that you can do that move you forward. That is the most important thing. Does it move you forward? Is it a proactive approach to life and business? Okay. And if it is a proactive approach, meaning you're not reacting to things that have happened, because right now I've been living in this reactive state. If it's proactive, then it's good. Let it be an opportunity to win, and then win at that. And if you don't win, you get closer, and then you just set a new goal or create a new routine or do whatever you got to do. Now, what did Annie said? She said, I'm good at celebrating wins probably too well, according to my credit card anyways. I need to find a better reward than online shopping. Maybe go to Vegas. So I get that, and I have the same thing. Like, I'm a retail therapy person. Like,
Yes, you are.
except for mine come when like stuff is like miserable or like I'm depressed or frustrated. I'm like,
pickup.
okay, let's spend some money. So and then let's see. She says, when I feel overwhelmed and like I suck at photography, I get off social media other than to connect with my clients. Can't handle seeing everyone else's wins because it leaves me feeling empty more. I feel that too. Like,
I think everybody does.
there's like, we have photographers here locally that I celebrate, like I'm excited for. But like, I feel the same thing. I see them doing well, and here's the thing. You don't even really know how well they're doing. Like, maybe they're being coached by somebody like me that's saying just post regularly so that it looks like you're busy, but that just, you got to quit comparing yourself to other people. Like, that's just all there is to it. What? Compare and despair, Dylan says. Dylan has emerged
and spoken.
and spoken.
I think one of the things too, if I can go back to Tara for a minute, is that you need to find a way to ground yourself outside of your business, outside of your family, and find something that's very personal to you, even if it's just like go stand out. It sounds hokey, but like go stand outside in the grass for like 1 minute and just stand there, or look at yourself in the mirror for like
Don't step in dog poop.
30. Yeah, don't step in dog poop. That won't help. But finding a way to physically and mentally ground yourself and give yourself grace for what you're going through, I think is very, very important. Whether you do it through like running or yoga or standing, or like Sam was saying, read a book, take a bath, just find one thing and make that a routine that you do every single day, or every 2 days if you only need it every 2 days. But
Sorry, I didn't give them your face while you were talking.
that's okay.
But I think what you said there, give yourself grace, is vital. We all like our, what is another word? Like, the only thing I can ever think of is a church thing.
just
Our
go for it.
Gethsemane. What's the like?
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know how
Yeah.
to not. Your what do they call it when they do a trek, like a religious trek from one place to another place?
Your journey?
No, there's an actual word. Yes, that's it.
That doesn't make sense either for what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, then you're wrong.
Yeah, I probably am. Anyway, my point is give yourself grace, like Mia said, to go through challenges. But at the same time, I think that, and I'm probably really, really far off on this, and it might sound kind of cold. Give yourself grace, but also you have to set some goals and some, like, 'cause it's not like you can, in any situation of grieving, and I'm trying to not make it about that,
Yeah.
but more about like we do, and I'm not
You got to
saying
get out of the victim mindset.
exactly. You have to change your mindset. You cannot remain
No.
in your, like, this life of challenge. You can't remain feeling downtrodden because of the challenges that you've gone through. You have to change that mindset. You can't live in the victim. And I'm not talking just to Tara. I'm not talking to Annie. I'm not talking to Josh. I'm speaking very generally. Because I'm doing the same thing. I'm living in this life of like nothing works. I feel invisible on social media. I feel like I have this random dome of silence, cone of silence around me. So, but that is the victim mindset. And yes, you just need to find yourself again, and find something to live for. And maybe in some of those situations, maybe it is time to, like, and I'm not talking about photography because I've seen a lot of your posts on Facebook. Like, she posts the jokes about leaving photography. I'll beat you. But maybe it's something else, like something else in your life that needs to change and to be eliminated. Maybe it's some of the friends you hang out with. Maybe it's the drinking, or maybe it's the food you eat.
Like, it's not always the bad things.
Yeah,
either.
it's not always the bad things. Maybe, like,
I had to learn to stop saying yes to everything. I had to learn to stop serving other people and
that was a really
like,
bad thing though for me.
Yeah, it was. I'm sorry
like,
about
you
that.
need to be able to say yes to me for everything.
But it's true. Like, I had to cut pretty much everything out of my life and then just slowly allow back in what it still works. And you can let things back in and then you're like, never mind. Delete. Like,
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Annie says personal projects can really help you find yourself again. It can connect you back to why and what you're passionate about. And honestly, because Annie is the one that said it, it's very true. I suck at personal projects, so I don't have a whole lot to give on this, but I do find myself wanting for that. However, I struggle with the, like, personal project or going fishing, personal project or like, those kinds of things. Annie has, like, and I really want to brag on her for a bit. Like, her whole business has, like, almost completely flip-flopped because of this new, and I wouldn't even call it a personal project. She's just figured out a way to market it as a project that is kind of personal to her, but it's still really a focus in business. She's launched a campaign that has done so well, and I've seen things change in her that she told me last year, Sam, I can't do that. And so that's really exciting for her. And sometimes that's what it's all about. Like, sometimes we have to get out of our rut that we're in. Like, the whole, like, just doing the same thing over and over again. We do get burned out. We get bored of it. We get bored of doing the same things. And so sometimes, yeah, it is about finding what really, like, just sets you on fire, and then figure out a way to make it work. And maybe it isn't all about money, because it isn't always all about money. Sometimes it's just about that mental wherewithal that you can build from creating those personal projects or doing something that you're passionate about, and just following that passion. It's a powerful thing. If you can make your passion be a part, why are you smirking? If you can make your passion make money for you, like, all the better. But there is going to be a point where that passion might grow old. Like I've changed a lot of the things I like to do in life, and I've typically always like being a senior portrait photographer is honestly the thing I've stuck at the longest in my life.
Well, and I think that's one of the things when you celebrate, like when you actually celebrate the small wins and you see, like, you might change. You might find yourself like, I am getting all these small wins, but they're in this, and I expected them to be over here.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of like your mind's amazing. It's kind of like your body's way of saying, well, maybe we need to shift focus. And there is nothing wrong with starting over. There's absolutely nothing wrong with starting over as long as you keep moving forward. It's just, I think that whole celebrate it is so powerful because if you just let it go.
How random is it that I've always wanted to just start over? Like
there's something
and more for
liberating about it.
Yeah, more for the concept of like, okay, I've proved this works. Now I know more than I knew then. Mm-hmm. Could I do it?
Yeah.
Again?
And you could
somewhere
do it
else?
different. Like, can I do it different? Can I make it something better, or can I take out the parts that I don't like?
But the thing is that we hold ourselves back because we start to say, okay, well, I can't do that because
you get fearful.
Well, not just that, but because, you know, it affects other people. It affects, you know, this, that, and the other. And then we
limit ourselves.
What's the word? We imposterize ourselves. Imposterize ourselves out of it. So, guys, what I want you to get from this today, everybody has challenges. Everybody goes through everything. Everybody has time where they lose motivation or desire to do the things that they love, or to do the things that maybe not even that they love.
No, I do lots of things that I don't love every single day. And actually those probably make me feel more motivated when I get those done. It's like what's the other book that maybe we should do it for next month? Can we do 2 books? Can I do 2 books in a row? We do Eat the Frog one. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah, I don't
Because it's all about that same little thing.
We could make that last month's book.
No, we make it December's. It'll be an easy one. But it's just like one of the concepts in that book is that you do the hardest thing first.
First, yeah.
And once that is same thing. Once that's done and you celebrate that win, then you're like, okay,
Wasn't the Eat the Frog book the one that was like $2,500 on?
Oh, I don't know. It's like a little paperback. It's
I know,
like
but there was
$7.
like, you look it up on Amazon, it's like
I don't know.
Hold on, I'm gonna look.
But I think that is part of it too. Just celebrate those small wins.
Yeah, celebrate the small wins and make it really intentional. Make your small wins and your celebration of those small wins very intentional. And I think, you know, we actually need to do a better job of focusing on this for the business and personally, like in our relationships. Identify where are you going to have these small wins? What points are you going to consider it a win? And then how are you going to celebrate? How are you going to reward yourself for those small wins? Maybe that's my problem, is I reward myself too much.
It could be. It could be an issue.
maybe that's what we're really missing here. So I hope that was helpful, guys. Like I said, motivation, we all come to a point where we lack motivation. We all are in different walks of life. No matter how you cut it, you don't know what other people are going through. And you don't know how it impacts them.
Right. And I think in that comparison, because this is something I've seen with my friends, like, oh, I can't talk to her because what she's going through is a lot worse. Well, who cares? What you're going through is trauma for you, and what I'm going through was trauma for me.
And we're all
it doesn't make a difference.
It's all gonna take different time for everybody to deal with those things. And it's really interesting, you know, for me, even this year, like it's been hard to see, like, because I knew there was something wrong, but I had a good idea about the things that are wrong, but some of the things that I started, like as I took, which I think is one of the things that I'm really strong about, is getting to a place where I really kind of take that 10,000 foot overview look of my life and saying, okay, what's different? What's wrong here? What do I need to change to get back on track? One of those things that like I've noticed is like when I stop reading or stop like learning, I get complacent.
Yeah, that's a good word.
At the same time, I struggle because, and that's why I try to pick topics that I want to stick to for like a while, like really study marketing, really study sales, really study certain things. And sometimes I think even now, like it almost needs to be more about personal, like studying like that kind of stuff. But what I struggle with is that I get really bad brain overload. I start to feel like, okay, well, I've read all these books. I have all these key points of knowledge and valuable things, but like I'm just wasting them. And so I kind of like get to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't need any more in my head right now. But then I fall into that same loop of like, just not
it's
being.
more focused, I think, on the implementation. Like maybe you can focus on, from Atomic Habits, I implemented this.
Yeah.
And from, maybe that'd be a good exercise for us to go through the book of the month from the year as like a year sum up and go, what did I get from Into the
what did I
Magic
get
Shop?
from each one?
What did I get? And
Well,
how did I apply that to my
Let's
life?
not
And just
talk about that one
thing.
because that one's from 2 years ago.
Is it really?
Yeah, no, I don't want that
wow.
one back in my life right now. That was.
I didn't realize that was
That was a
long
big.
ago.
But
you can overload yourself with
oh yeah,
too much. And again, I think that goes back to giving yourself that grace. It's all in there. When you need it, your mind's going to pull it back up.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, just keep walking.
just start walking.
Yeah, if you're not walking, start. But most people are.
Most
I think
people are
that's it.
walking.
Most people are, you take one step and then the next one. Everybody takes a step
Yeah.
every day. You have to pee sooner or later. You've got to get to the bathroom.
You have to
Right?
pee sooner or later.
Yeah, that's what I used to tell myself. I'm like, sooner or later you have to get out of bed because otherwise you'd wet the bed. So you have to go to the bathroom.
Maybe that'd be warm.
Ew. That's gross.
For a little bit. Dylan, do you have anything to add? Dylan, in his infinite wisdom, has said, nope, I'm good.
We're good.
So that's all we got for you guys today. I hope it was helpful. Really, if you could do anything today, identify the routines in your life and start striving for small wins, because and celebrate those wins. So those are your 3 things today. That's your homework. Identify how many routines. I know for me, that's like, I'm going to be thinking about that all day. And probably for the next couple of days, what are my routines and what are the things that do vary every day that really throw off, like my sleep, like when I wake up. That's one thing that I just don't like. I don't necessarily get up at the same time every day. I honestly can I typically get up around the same time, but like Michelle gets up, gets Rylan ready for school, gets him off to school. And I honestly feel like a schlub because I lay in bed, but like we're talking at like 6:45, 7 o'clock in the morning, which would be good for me to get up. I know, shut your mouth. You get up really early. It'd be good for me to get up. So take a look at those things. What routines do you have? Focus on small wins and then make sure to reward yourself on those small wins. And that's all we got for today. So hasta la bye-bye. Peace out, Girl Scout. Anything else you want to add?
No.
See you guys. We'll see you next week.